From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening, Fairbanks, and thank you for joining us. Our top story this evening: Governor Sean Parnell spoke Thursday with Interior Secretary Sally Jewell about the possibility of the state stepping in to make sure federal lands are not off limits to Alaskans during the ongoing partial government shutdown.
Parnell said the state could pay for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to operate the refuges during the shutdown. The governor met with the commissioners of the Department of Natural Resources and Fish and Game and the state attorney general to discuss options. He said the shutdown is costing Alaskans their livelihoods and starting to impact state government operations as well.
In our federal refuges, we were told you got to, and this is Fish and Wildlife Service, we were told that, if you're floating through a federal refuge, like on the Kenai, you got to pull in your fishing lines. You can't fish anymore. Well, yeah, I told the Secretary of Interior, that's crazy talk, okay? Direct quote, because ANILCA gives us as a state the right to utilize those refuges for more than what Fish and Wildlife is letting us have access for. Fish and Wildlife Service has said we can only have access for subsistence purposes, and if you're an inholder, then you can have access. But ANILCA actually allows much broader access to the refuges.
Parnell said Fish and Wildlife told them they can only have access to the refuges for subsistence purposes or if you're an inholder. He said ANILCA allows much broader access than Fish and Wildlife is authorized to dictate.
The Tongass National Forest is also feeling the impact, with most of the 400 people who work there on furlough. That also shuts down the popular Mendenhall Glacier and the visitor center there. The forest itself is not closed, and people with current special use permits can still use the cabins. Guides and outfitters are also still active. Garbage and outhouse cleanup isn't being provided, and only 10 rangers are on duty for limited services such as law enforcement.
Federal furloughs have an impact on public health. 2/3 of Centers for Disease Control employees are furloughed, and in Alaska that could mean delays in getting back important test results with infectious diseases, according to state health officials. Alaska has the highest rate of tuberculosis cases in the country. If the state needed information on a new case right now, the turnaround would take longer than normal. The state's infectious diseases program director said if the shutdown continues for several months, not having CDC expertise during emergencies would be huge. The state said they could still get federal funds, but that could change if the shutdown continues too long. Of the approximately $800,000 the state gets to prevent tuberculosis, half of that comes from the federal government.
The white powder found in a suspicious package today at the state office building in Juneau has been deemed non-hazardous. The building was evacuated when a security guard reported finding the package. It was discovered on the 11th floor of the building, and after reporting it to police, the building was closed for precautionary measures. Sharon Lahow with Governor Sean Parnell's office says the FBI made the determination after contacting the pharmaceutical company responsible for shipping the package. The building will now be reopened.
The security guard said that they had received a package that contained some type of powder. And then it was decided once they got on the scene that the entire building just...
The Alaska Federation of Natives Convention is the largest annual gathering of natives in the United States. This year, the AFN convention is coming back to the interior for the first time since 2010. The event draws thousands of attendees and provides a platform for Native people to exchange information, culture, and discuss different issues that affect them. This year, AFN plans to bring some of the biggest events they have ever hosted to Fairbanks.
Greatly looking forward to going up there to Fairbanks. We always get such a great welcome from the community. It's so nice to be up there. We're going to have the biggest arts and crafts fair that we've ever had, and so we're looking forward to that. We get about 4,000 to 5,000 people attending this conference each year, and it is just a great platform, a great way to get all Alaska.
All right, when we come back, 2013 has been the second most valuable salmon harvest on record here in the state of Alaska.
And the Department of Transportation has closed the Fox Spring. We'll have more on that. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the Fbx Evening News. The Department of Transportation has closed the Fox Springs Water Station, which is about 10 miles north of Fairbanks. All this week, the DOT has been looking into complaints of low water flow. During their examination, they placed a camera down the well casing where it appeared to be dry. A chain was put up across the walkway leading to the water station, and DOT posted a sign on the chains that read, "No water due to changing conditions. The Fox Springs is currently dry." DOT maintenance staff will meet Monday to discuss what needs to be done.
A 45-year-old Wasilla man has been cited for negligent driving after his semi-truck overturned on the Parks Highway. Troopers say they were notified Thursday about the accident involving Russell Bowman. The Parks Highway was closed for nearly 3 hours after the incident. According to Alaska State Troopers, the truck started to drift off the road, and when the driver tried to correct, the vehicle jackknifed and landed on its side. A small amount of diesel fuel was spilled and was quickly contained. No methane leaked, and no injuries were reported.
The Alaska Department of Fish and Game has announced that there will be no state hunt for the Nilcha caribou this winter in Game Management Unit 13 along the Denali Highway. Officials say that the amount of caribou taken prior to September 20th will be enough to achieve the quota for the year. The federal subsistence hunt will remain open. Hunters are being asked to complete and return harvest reports as soon as possible, and those who fail to do so may be fined and will be ineligible for permits next year.
2013 has been the second most valuable salmon harvest on record in the state of Alaska. That, according to a press release by the Alaska Department of Fish and Game. The harvest was valued at an approximate $691 million, second to the 1988 harvest, which came in at $724 million. The pink salmon harvest also set a record amount of fish caught with 219 million, leading to an overall amount of salmon count of 272 million fish. However, according to Fish and Game, Bristol Bay fell to third place in fish this year to Southeast Alaska and Prince William Sound.
Leaders from the University of the Arctic and other agencies recently gathered in Alaska for the Circumpolar Agricultural Conference. The conference in Girdwood hosted more than 130 people from across disciplines who are fanatic about food security. Food security is a broad topic related to several components such as food accessibility, food safety, and food affordability. Professor of Animal Science at UAF, Milan Shipka, is passionate about the issue, which is relatively new. For him, it's important to meet with other Arctic nations who experience similar challenges to those found in Alaska.
From my personal standpoint, I don't know whether we will ever reach a point in Alaska where we don't import food. I think that'll always be a component of our food security, and we need to take care of that aspect. But if we can grow more of our own food, it will make us a more secure state, a more stronger economy, and better health for our people.
Some local playwrights are trying to raise money for a new musical theater production. Out There Honky Tonkin' is written by Carrie Seward and Amanda Bent with music by Risa Rose Harris. The producers have started a Kickstarter campaign to help raise money for various production expenses. The play will open in November in the former Empress Theater, which the show will transform into a saloon with beer and singing even after the show ends. The team has 3 more days to reach their goal, and they're asking for your help.
It is an original Alaskan musical that takes place inside of a honky-tonk song written by a girl from Alaska.
The Kickstarter is so that we can get enough money to pay for the insurance and the sound equipment and the materials to build the set. And so we're asking for $5,170, and we're almost to $4,000 right now.
Very cool. Now,
Neat.
if you'd like to donate, you can go to Kickstarter.com and search for Out There Honky Tonkin'.
Honky tonkin'.
Well, I can't lead into
I was
sports
going to say,
from that, but
I was
yeah.
thinking of something honky tonky.
Yeah.
I don't know, when you
Sportsy.
go to one of these sports events that's going on, you can honk your horn for your favorite team.
Ah,
There
yeah.
you go.
But what about
Okay.
Tonkin?
I don't know.
We're talking about sports.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I guess.
You guys.
A huge weekend of sports right here in Fairbanks coming up. The Ice Dogs, they're in town for Game 2 of their series, but you'll see what happened last night in Game 1. And the high school football playoffs start tonight. I'll tell you all about that after the break.
Talking about it.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here, getting you started for a sports-heavy weekend in the interior. Last night, the Fairbanks Ice Dogs dropped their second home series opener. It was the first meeting between the Coulee Region Chill and Fairbanks. In the first period, Chill introduced themselves with 2 goals under 5 minutes. Colton Walter thought he had a goal. It was clearly in, but the refs called it off. The Chill proceeded to score again for a 3-0 lead. Tough call there. Brett Gervais had an awkward goal. He hit Cam Blake off the Chill, and then the puck goes airborne, and it gets Adam Carlson for the score. Walter got one that counted in the second period for a 3-2 game, but Mac Jansen scores his second goal to make it 4-2, and Carlson shut out the Dogs in the third for a 4-2 win. Both teams back in the dip at 7:30 tonight. And the Patriot Pride Field will be the site of North Pole's first-round playoff game. They take on the Ketchikan Kings in this 2 versus 4 seed Southeastern Conference playoff matchup. It will be interesting what the Kings try to do. The last time these teams met, North Pole walloped them 61-6, with the JV team playing most of the second half. The Patriots are playing some good football as of late, with victories over West Valley and the Mayor's Bowl win over Lathrop. They're on a 5-game winning streak, and ironically, it started with that blowout of the Kings. However, the Patriots aren't taking them lightly.
It's definitely clear that Ketchikan's not going to come up here just to lay down. You know, they're going to come up here and play football. So, and they've improved over the season. They've got some other players back that we didn't play the first time. So it's definitely going to be a different game for us, and it's a great. We accept the challenge.
We're just getting prepared. How they're getting better, and we just want to win. I'm just keep thinking about that state championship. Just want to get it.
Your senior year, you really take each game really big and be like, I only got a few more of these. When someone else makes the tackle, everyone on the defense, the whole offensive line just gets hyped. Everybody does. It's a fun thing, and I'm really excited where this program's going.
And tomorrow at 1 o'clock, the Monroe Rams host their first playoff game in 5 years. Monroe forced a 3-way tie for first in the Greatland Conference with a 5-1 record after defeating Nikiski last week 37-27. A coin flip determined the seeding. It was all tails all day. That's how the Rams got in the top seed. And now they play Barrow. Monroe beat the Whalers on homecoming 51-8. This won't be the same Whalers. They have senior quarterback Jesse Sanchez back under center, a receiver with size, and another lineman. Monroe has been resting up and conditioning this week as 13 players are slated to play. The small numbers may amaze us, but with this successful season, it's just natural to them.
Coach conditioned us really well, and we've been preparing for this whole season, and it's great.
It's been a pretty good week at practice. We've just been working on the basic stuff, catching passes, blocking, and just trying to do everything right.
The game plan, we got to key off their best players and make sure they don't make any big plays. And I mean, same as last time, just execute our plays and come out with an intensity, just like every other game, and do our thing.
I don't think anybody's taking it lightly, and they know how huge it can be if we can win it. You know, they know what the outcome means. They'll keep their feet on the earth and play their best game, and whatever turns out, turns out.
And the All-Rail Belt Conference Awards were released today. Lathrop had 18 total players with 6 on the first, second teams, and honorable mentions. West Valley had 5 first-teamers as well, and 6 on the second team and 6 honorable mentions. Colony quarterback Bryce Niver was Offensive Player of the Year, and Wasilis Cash McGregor was Defensive Player of the Year. Knights head coach Brian McIntosh was Coach of the Year, and Chris Seminario of Lathrop was Kick Returner of the Year, and the Malamutes Luke Baylash was Assistant Coach of the Year. For the full list of the All-Rail Belt teams and the Southeastern Conference teams, just go to webcenter11.com. It will be a Nanac-heavy sports weekend. The UAF cross-country teams will have their last meet of the regular season in Bellingham, Washington for the 40th Annual Western Cross Country Classic. 7 schools will run. The men are coming off their first GNAC win in program history in the SMU Invitational. The women's team, which almost won as well, coming in second. Freshman class led them. Callie Stryker and Dorothy O'Donnell placed second at the SMU meet. And all weekend at 9 a.m., the Nanac rifle teams, they start their season against NC State and Ole Miss in the E.F. Horton rifle range. The hockey team plays Quinnipiac tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the Kendall on Saturday. And the volleyball team will be packing the patty for their game against UAA, which starts at 7 on Saturday night. And after all that, the Ice Dogs take on the Coulee Region Chill in Game 3 of their home series for a 7:30 showdown at the Dip. And finally, tonight we have the play of the week. This one going to a senior, West Valley's Brendan Williams, breaking tackles and sprinting down the sideline. And last week's loss to Colony that ended Wolfpack season. But Williams had one more highlight for West Valley. Let us know what the play of the week is on the next I-5, the interior top 5 plays on Monday at the end of the sports weekend recap. And that's all I got, but a quick note, the Nanics are leading 3-0 in the second period over Air Force, and West is up 42-0 over Lathrop, and Allison is tied with Nikiski 20-20 at halftime. I'll have all that coming up in the Sports Nightcap with also highlights from Friday night sports action. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.